A very good morning, and thanks again for being with us today. Topic of my second briefing would be the appointment of a new director for Norges Bank International Management Fund, also called the Norwegian Oil Fund. Allow me, allow me, please, just to first and foremost take a look on what the Central Bank of Norway says about itself. Must be the central bank rate 0.25. The fund's market value. Norges Bank Investment Management manages Norwegian Government Pension Fund Global, also known as the Oil Fund. Market value is 10.5 billion. Capital out from London. And he started up 15 years ago, having a asset management capital of 180 billion kroner. That's almost 17 billion pounds, or less. He has almost 2.5 billion kroner in cash. And 4.5 billion of assets in funds. And as you may know that Mr. Tangen just earlier arranged a seminar in US with certain politicians, public sector professors, and representatives of Norges Bank. His company is registered at Cayman Islands. List of investments. Apparently quite many companies. High value shares. Had participated on the seminar back to university, which is 27 million kroner or $2.7 million arrangement. Full pack. Let's see. Moreover, the questions forwarded from the government. Yeah, here you go. How the board fought in Syni Tangens, just taking this in Norwegian. I think Swedish and Danish will also understand. How in Tangens owner interests and economic Relations har Tangen lagt frem en fullstendig oversikt over sin personlige økonomi og sine forretningsinteresser. Har han orientert om hvordan hans private formuesforhold, private assets and equity, skal ivaretas uten at det oppstår without interest of conflict with the position as a new chief of the oil fund. Hvordan kan det sikres mot interessekonflikter hvis Tangen som sjef for oljefondet vil eie betydelige andeler i internasjonale fond og forvaltningsselskap for fond? Hvordan vil hovedstyret kontrollere aktiviteten i skatteparadiser som Cayman Islands og Jersey? Og har man fullt innsyn i AKO-selskapenes aktiviteter? Yeah, so clearly they are into something very important here. The managing director CEO has answered on 26 points regarding Mr. Tangen's employment. They tried somehow to shortlist him in for the employment supported by Russell Reynolds Recruitment Bureau. Okay. I have some points to comment on, but let's just check here what corrupt practices usually embrace in terms of people, forced labor or discrimination, harassment, function abuse, nepotism, cronyism, inaptitude, being not eligible, conflict of interest, bid rigging, etc. And then the aspect of power, predatory, prepotency, impunity, bullying, influence, peddling, hoarding, inside trading, illicit enrichment, squandering, and also under assets we have expense padding, misstatement, concealment, misappropriation, and that's it, I think. Allow me to comment. First, I have a couple of points here. Number one, the Næringsminister, Trade Minister Isaksen, defended himself first and foremost, saying that, I just could not pay for the dinner he had, and so and so. And second point is that almost 30 million kroner was spent on this event. Third is that we don't know yet, but okay, if the need was to appoint a Norwegian director, then obviously they should look for someone within Norway or Nordics. Fourth aspect is GRC, governance, risk and compliance, we cannot in today's world do anything without compliance. All banks have to put full of efforts on anti-corruption, compliance, money control, and transparency in who are doing what, when, and how, etc. Fifth aspect is typically ethical ethos, ethical rights, corporate social responsibility, where the Norges Bank is supposed to be a flag carrier, I think, when it comes to cross-examining companies and investments they go into. And in terms of Mr. Tangen, what is his assets and his equities? We could see 2.5 billion, but how did he make that much money within 10-15 years? More details probably about that, and about his clients' assets, who are other co-investors. And this is in fact a very legal point, because if you do business out of UK or London, there may be a lot of black capital involved. I'm not pointing out someone in specific, but I mean, you can have foreign investors, even king families, money forwarders, etc., shelf companies, money laundering, etc., is somewhat popular in London, because there are hundreds of billions invested in and out of via London. Moreover, who other investors have invested in his shares and via Acco Capital, who are working for him, under him, etc., who are his clients, obviously many companies here and there. And then you have this point 8 or 9, light corruption. Why conceal something until it's unleashed? And headhunters, yeah. Usually headhunters are supposed to cross-examine or almost investigate a candidate, but that doesn't seem to happen here. Most likely they knew him, and they contacted Mr. Tangen, and he was shortlisted into a further process. And by the end, what are the rules of engagement for the government employees, ministers, and for foreign trips, foreign events, and capital expenditures? Now, not to say that politicians are exactly corrupt, but you can manipulate politicians. And why didn't government pay in advance for whatever the cost was? So finally, not to be very judgmental about the issue, but you have some guidelines to follow all the time. Corruption practices by favoritism, authority, yeah, competence and tribute, and preference, power, privilege, and payment, money, assets, people, and power. Because in the long term, um, there could be a serious issues with Norges Bank's investment fund for manipulation and literally wrong decisions into exit and entry into companies. And I know that the Pakistani government did all that with their past prime minister by scrutinizing everything possible. And it was not exactly the same issue there, but however, London based families involved in money laundering, etc. So, dear friends, thanks for listening. If you have any comments or anything you'd like to share, please let me know by writing down in the comment box. Thanks for following once again.